Welcome to Emotional Freedom TV. This is episode number 5 and I'm Mary Henderson. Well, it's been a while since our last episode and I must say it's been an extraordinary time for so many people, and I think in preparation for the 21st of December 2012. For me, it's been an extraordinary 2 months, and the learnings and the knowledge that I've gained has been fabulous, and a lot of it I'd like to share with you. But today's episode is about challenging our paradigms, and I thought that the best way to approach the topic is to really talk about the journey that I've taken on the challenging my paradigm and things that took place in order for substantial shifts to occur. The first thing that I did was really try and understand the basis of where I was at in my life and if I was happy with my reality. And I would say that 99% of us would say absolutely no. We're not quite happy or even comfortable with our reality. In some instances, we just know that there's something more, and I knew that there was something more. The first step, though, for me was, I remember quite distinctly looking at my business card, and at the time I had my own business, and I remember looking at that business card and thinking, is this title defining who I am? Is this what I want people to know me as? And that was really the first step to challenging my paradigm and also the belief system in that owning your own business equaled success, which was far from the truth. Interestingly enough, what happens when we start challenging our paradigm and we start questioning where we're at in our life, what really happens and what really is taking place is at some level of unveiling your consciousness. And I think that is an incredible journey to undertake in itself. If I look at my own story and when I started to challenge my paradigm, it was really asking that very first question of, am I really happy with my reality? And when my answer was quite clearly absolutely no way, what I decided to do was step into that rabbit hole, which was absolutely mind-blowing. The information that was revealed to me in chronological order, in that everything that I had learned from day one up until this moment has been the right thing to learn up until now. And is that a coincidence? Absolutely not at all. Because I truly believe that when you do make a decision to change your reality and really understand what it is that is the true reality, knowledge and information reveals itself. People, situations, scenarios, things just start appearing in your life that really matter and that really do make a difference. I do want to say though, as part of this whole journey of challenging my paradigm, EFT was such a critical component, because what I started to understand very, very early in my discovery is that feelings and emotions really do play an incredible part of this thing called consciousness. And EFT helped me through that process. I realized first and foremost that my biology plays a critical part in understanding the true power that I have within myself. And I truly believe that until you understand how to manage your feelings and emotions, it's really impossible to move forward to the next phase of consciousness. And that's just my experience. So I'm really expressing in this episode the process that I undertook to get me to this point. So EFT has played a massive role in balancing, if you like, the understanding and the management of my feelings and emotions that unfortunately I acquired over the years. From understanding my biology and stepping into the rabbit hole, some amazing revelations started to appear. And at first, it was really difficult to fathom, because what happens is that suddenly your entire reality is challenged. Everything that you've known, everything that you've been taught by your parents and caregivers, church, your teachers, the education system, reality generally is challenged. So challenging your paradigm is not just challenging you at an emotional level, it's challenging your mind and the beliefs that we carry within our mind, which ultimately creates our reality. Stepping into the rabbit hole has been extraordinary, and for some of us it's really confronting and it's really scary, and believe me, it was really, really scary at first to step into the rabbit hole, because the things that I was learning were just so far from what I had always believed in. But then I started to understand science and and watch various presentations on YouTube day in, day out. I mean, in some instances I was up every night till 2-3 in the morning because I just couldn't get enough of the information. And interestingly, the information that I was gathering from a science standpoint was exactly the same from the yogis in the Far East, or the enlightened, what they call the enlightened gurus, who also talk about exactly the same principles. It couldn't be a coincidence. The things that I was learning just weren't a coincidence. There was truth in all of this. Then I started to really understand that, hang on a minute, there's truth in just more of at a galactic level. I really wanted to understand astrology and symbolism and the roles that they play in our life. And suddenly I came to understand that metaphors and symbols play a massive role within our unconscious. And again, just in saying unconscious, that is completely different to subconscious. So I started to learn all these new words and phrases and buzzwords and spiritual language and science language. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they all equaled the same answer. And the answer at the end of it all was, you can either live from a space of fear or you can either live from a space of love. And they're really the two choices. And the universal language operates from the space of love, which is why EFT played such a massive role in this journey to enlightenment. Because until you can manage your feelings and emotions, in some cases completely rid yourself of those beliefs, I don't believe that you can move forward and get to enlightenment. And for me, certainly, that has been the situation. So again, going back to the topic of this episode, challenging our paradigm, it's more than challenging yourself. It's more about challenging your belief system. It's challenging religion. It's challenging science. It's challenging everything that we have learned from the day that we were born. And so when you start unpeeling those layers and you start getting to the core, which ultimately is the truth, what happens? You start to understand your reality from a completely different standpoint. Not the reality that we see with our five senses, but the reality that we have been told does not exist until we end our life on Earth. Once I started stepping into the rabbit hole and I started to understand myself at a biology from a biological standpoint, I then started to also understand my spiritual side and the importance that plays in this whole universe. When you start to understand symbolism and metaphors and astrology, it's not a coincidence that we're a mirror of the universe and the makeup of the universe. We are God and God is us, if you like. And the whole process of the paradigm and the shifting of my paradigm happened so quickly, and it happened, in some instances on an hourly basis, on a daily basis. I certainly can tell you that the person I was 18 months ago is absolutely not the person that I've come to understand today, and which has been fantastic. And So once you get to the point of understanding that the paradigm shift is fundamental to essentially setting yourself free, then you start to challenge the world, the physical world that we live in, and you compare that to the ancient wisdom that we're told from the Far East, and the importance of our mind and the connection between our mind and our heart. And I didn't understand and appreciate that as much as I do now, and the role that meditation then eventually plays in your life. And so ancient wisdom teaches us, as does science, that that we have three brains. Essentially, we have the outer brain, which is the neocortex, the midbrain, and the reptilian brain. And the midbrain is connected to one of the most important organs in our whole infrastructure, which is our body, and that is called the pineal gland. And the pineal gland, according to ancient wisdom, is where the third eye actually exists. And when you want to start understanding the importance and the nature of the third eye, what happens is that you are seriously then in challenge mode. And for me, it didn't take that long to understand the importance of the third eye. But what I found so incredibly interesting is that where I thought the third eye was and what I thought it was actually not what it was when I understood the information that the yogis and the enlightened gurus provide us from the Far East. Of course, science has proven this as well. And David Wilcox, has been able to prove this from a science standpoint, and you get people like Dr. Pillai and Sadhguru Jadi who actually, talk about exactly the same thing. Once I understood the power of the pineal gland, I also then came to understand, and this is where the real challenge started to occur for me, is that that the ancient wisdom have known the power of the pineal gland and the midbrain for thousands and thousands of years. Interestingly enough, the elite who control our world have also known the power of the midbrain and the pineal gland. And it's really easy to calcify the pineal gland. And how do we do that? Well, we drink water that has fluoride. Anything that has fluoride, such as our toothpaste, calcifies our pineal gland. The food we eat that's genetically modified also calcifies the pineal gland. And the most important thing that you must know, as I came to understand, is TV, and how media provides us with information and subliminal information to ensure that we stay in the outer brain, in particularly on the left part of the brain, so that all we're doing is we're literal, and also most importantly, we never get the opportunity to open up the right side of the brain, which is where the creativity happens, the questioning of, is there more to life than what there is? You can do your own research on all of this yourself, and YouTube has become my best friend, and I highly recommend that you use YouTube for all the information that you want. It is extraordinary. There are people from ex-CIA, there are scientists, there are enlightened gurus that you will get to meet on through YouTube that give you the information that really will inspire you and challenge you to think differently. The moment I understood the power of TV and how it affects us from in every cell of our body, in particularly how it stops us from creating and becoming masters of our life, what I did immediately was stop drinking our water, and also made a point of not watching TV. The difference in myself, in my children, my husband, just generally speaking, has been remarkable. In fact, it was an instant shift. We don't use toothpaste that has fluoride. We don't drink the water. We absolutely do not watch TV. My kids have just become incredibly creative, imaginative beyond my beliefs. I mean, I can't really explain in words the remarkable incredible shift that has occurred in our family. So I highly recommend that you, take the initiative and do your own research around that. Once I understood all those principles, I was ready to really explore the connection between my heart and my mind and the universe. And the only way that I understood to do that was through meditation. No matter whether I listened to a science from people like Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton talk, but also enlightened gurus like Sadhguru Jati, who actually talks about the power of meditation and also the language of love, which is through the heart. And Dr. Pillai, who talks about the power of the midbrain and how the midbrain is our entry point into the third eye, and the third eye is where the information gets released out into the universe. I learned important things like, to meditate at sunrise, and a lot of information around that. So I won't get into that topic in today's episode, but I guess what today's episode is really about is to, open your thinking that there is more to our reality. It's absolutely a fact. Whether I converge, science and ancient wisdom, it doesn't matter who I listen to from that standpoint, that the answer is exactly the same. Greg Braden talks about the language of love. The universal language is love. And the only way you can achieve that is through your feelings and emotions. And hence why I am very passionate about the teachings and the principles of EFT. Once you understand the power of the heart and the connection of the heart and the mind, the rest is easy, and it really is an incredible pathway to enlightenment. And every day has been a step towards that place that I believe will set us all free, that I believe is a reality that none of us have ever known. Through my own experience doing meditation, it has been remarkable. Just the experiences that I'm having have just been incredible. Things, miracles that you would think are, to the Western world are miracles, but to an enlightened guru, they're not miracles, because they know how to create the life that they live. So I think that it's really important to understand that we are energies, and our bodies are a vessel. We carry our soul in this vessel called the body, and if you take that vessel away, we're all exactly the same. We're just energy. And then when you amalgamate all that energy into one, it's just one massive galactic ball. And so I challenge you to really explore shifting your paradigms and understanding the different components. Start to break down the walls and really understand yourself. And the first question is, do I love the life that I'm living? Is this the reality that I want to continue with for the rest of my life? And for me, the answer was immediately, no way. It is absolutely not the reality that I want to live. This is not what I came here to do. And if that's where you're at, then the starting point is to understand the feelings and emotions that are truly holding you back, and use technologies like EFT or NLP and start that process so that you can get to the next phase, which is really understanding what the physical world really consists of and the type of people that have created this reality for us, which we don't have to be a part of that. We could create our own fabulous, beautiful, wonderful realities that give us this incredible life and experience and satisfaction. And the satisfaction I'm talking about is not necessarily about material aspects, which of course they're important because we live on earth, but I'm just talking about the difference between fear and love. And when you understand that fear has been brought into our lives, that we have not come here with that understanding, it is false and it is man-made, and that it is our right to live our physical life on earth in pure love, that is possible. We just have to understand how to get to love. And the only way you can get to love, from my experience, is to go through a process of elimination, step into that rabbit hole, and just explore the possibilities of what the universe can offer us. The universe is a part of us, and we are a part of the universe. And when we understand that conceptually, things just really shift. I learn so much still on a daily basis, and I know that as I learn and as I acquire new knowledge, at the same time, my neural network is rewiring. One thing that I became fascinated with during this whole process is looking at nature and looking at a tree branch and really analysing that a tree branch looks exactly the same as our neural network. That's not a coincidence. And then when you start appreciating nature and that nature gives us the answer to who we are and how we are genetically made up, your life starts to open up in a way that you've never, ever understood before. And as I said, it's a process. It's not a book that you read and then finally at the end of the chapter you become awakened, although that has happened to many people. I do believe it's a process, and I do believe that, it takes time and, it takes courage to be able to challenge your thinking. And you will be on your own, believe you me. When 99% of the world believe that their reality is what it is through the media and through all sorts of things that we've been exposed to, you will be on your own. And that is a fact. But that's the challenge, and that's what we really need to understand and learn, that we have the ability to challenge the status quo if that's what we want to do. And so this episode is about that. It's about giving us, the information that I guess I've acquired over, the last, 18 months, 2 years now, and and asking you guys to find that pathway and use Google and YouTube, because information is out there. It's just up to us to want to find it and to want to explore other realities that absolutely, truly, 150% exist. I just want to leave you on this note, and I thought this was a really fantastic way to close off this episode, because something that I just thought was really important. So I wanted to conclude this episode with an excerpt from sacredgeometry.com website, and it concludes this episode perfectly. It says, patterns of consciousness are also fundamental to human evolution and self-development. For example, all human beings go through stages of increasing self-awareness of their own psychological and emotional patterns. In many cases, we are victims of these patterns until we recognize them and act to change them. And I couldn't have said it any better than that. But I wanted to give them credit because that's where I got this information from, and I'd like to share it with you. So please feel free to go to this remarkable website, www.sacred, SACRED, geometry.com. And so I'll leave you on that note. Until our next episode, thank you.